There is power behind every story we carry within. Every tragedy, no, yes, laugh, victory. And every testimony that is incubated within our souls have power. The power to transform, from tragedy to crown, from obstacle to opportunity. And all the moments in between make us wiser. Watch Candid Conversations with Charisa for impactful, unheard moments that will certainly spark your power and inner truth to shift, heal, and restore your life. It's time to get real, uncover, unlock, unpack, set free, and increase the dialogue to change a life. We all start somewhere and end in places of destiny. Get ready for the long-awaited Candid Conversations with Charisa.
Hey family, Candid Conversations with Charisa is back and we are about to be lit. The conversation is continuing. We are continuing to be raw, deep, real, and transparent and transformational. We are going to start off this season talking about love and marriage, dedicated to all of my married couples and those aspiring to be married. Then we're going to get into dating and sex for all my single couples. And then we are going to talk about forgiveness, because forgiveness is not about the other person. It is for you. We're going to talk about isolation. We're going to talk about the benefits of sometimes being alone. We're going to talk about putting you first and why that is so much more important for you to start influencing others. Then we're going to talk about how you are the creator of all of your creation, needing no permission to do what you want to do and can do. Then I am going to give you a sneak peek and follow up on me actually going home, where I was able to get the freedom that I need. So pull up a chair. Every Thursday, we're going to be here on YouTube watching Candid Conversation with Charisa, a show that was created just for you. Hello guys, James, Ed, Carlos. Welcome back to the conversation. Joining Candid Conversations with Charisa. And it has been an amazing last few weeks. The last few weeks I've been joined by you and your wives, and we've been having great conversation about love and marriage and pretty much what they didn't tell us, what they didn't tell me. And here we are with just you. Now we can start the party, right? Get to roll up your sleeves. There are no wives. There are no women in the room. It's just you. I'm just here just to facilitate. I kind of want to hear you guys have a conversation. And I think for me, it was intentional to have you guys here, just you, because I think when you think about and talk about the love and marriage topic, it's oversaturated by women, by their feelings, by their emotions, by their comments, by their so-called advice and suggestions. And then when men give theirs, they're silenced because no one wants to hear the truth. And this is all about being candid, open, and transparent. So we want to hear the truth. And so I also took to my community because I wanted to hear what their questions were. And I got some questions. And so I didn't want to prep you. I didn't want to foretell what was coming because I wanted to be real. And you all are here because in some way, shape, or form, I feel that you have a story that can help somebody. James, you've been married for 6 years. Ed, you've been married for 5 months. Carlos, you've been married for 14 years, but you've been together with your wife for a total of 30, so we can go with 30. So there is an array of wisdom and experience here. And I think it's important for women and men. Like at this picture right here, I love that men get to see this. Men get to see real men. Boys get to see real men who have grown up. Women get to see men that look like their husbands. Women get to see men of their who look like their husbands that are willing to talk and have the conversation. So I'm going to give you guys a little bit of time to just tell me a little bit about yourself, and give me one thing about your marriage that you feel at this point could possibly save another's.
Well, I'm James. I get the opportunity to pastor at Transforming Faith Christian Center in Houston, Texas. And like Charisa said, we've been married for 6 years. And I believe that that's it, if you wanted me to go a little bit further. But I believe that the one thing that could help a marriage or could help a marriage in any type of, no matter what season that you're in, no matter what season the marriage is in, I believe that if two people come together with the mindset to build something bigger than them, I believe that the building would alleviate a whole lot of friction. Because sometimes when you're really, really building and when you got an assignment, I believe when both people are doing it to the degree they know they're supposed to be doing it, you get tired of a lot of little bitty nitpicky and petty things. And so I think one of the major issues in marriage, period, is a lack of purpose in it for both people. And so I'm just a firm believer in a person should know purpose before they start choosing a person. I didn't know that years ago. Of course, I had to go through, a few mistakes here and there, but when I got it, I got it. And so I just really do believe that the assignment of building something greater than you can always realign, reconstruct, rebuild any marriage.
Well, my name is Ed, and I'm just excited to be here. I'm excited to learn, and it's funny, while we're sitting here, I feel like we're on that show, Love Connection. I'm thinking like it's supposed to be a little screen somewhere, and some chick's supposed to show up, and we going back and forth on who's supposed to get it. I don't know why that's in my mind, but that's part of my personality. I'm an abstract thinker and comedian, if you will, unofficially. My stand-up album is coming out real soon. I think that that's the key though to marriage, is to never stop having fun, never stop being yourself. Oftentimes, we can adjust and change and try to become somebody different once we're married based on whatever, preconceived notions of what society has said. But the thing is, we got with the person based on who we were or who they were. So meeting this whole new person is kind of not the thing after getting married. You want to continue on with that person that you fell in love with, if you will. And so that coupled with understanding and getting over yourself, I think are two strong keys to keep this thing moving forward. I'm done.
Good stuff too. I'm Carlos, I'm a general contractor. I've been married 14, been with my wife 30 years. I like what he said about building the thing that's bigger than you, because that's really what it's about. And purpose also applies there too. And I believe you should find your purpose as an individual, but I do believe that couples brought together by God have a purpose in the earth too. And I think you need to find out what that is and commit to work towards that.
Good foundation. Good foundation, because these questions that have come in are insane, but they're real questions. Yeah. And what I like about you group of guys are neither of you know each other. But it happens in the barbershop. You walk in the barbershop and you don't know any of the guys there, but you guys have conversations. And so that means the three of you join on certain things that men just join on. Some things women want to hear, some things other men want to hear. They want to say they don't know how to say it. And so if there is something that, even though you don't know each other, what are some of those things that you guys would be willing to talk about because you join in it? And I wanted to consider the not so, tempered conservative answer, because the world needs the real and the raw and the, man, this is hurting me, but nobody wants to talk about it, so I'm dying on the inside, or my marriage is dying because nobody has told me the truth, or I'm scared to get married because this is what I'm seeing. So what are one or two things that if you guys are in the barbershop now and someone started talking, you'd be like, yeah, that's me too. I know. I go, yeah, my wife. Mm-hmm. I know. Yeah.
I mean, I am in the barbershop and like.
It's like, for what?
You feel me? Come on, man, listen. First of all, it helped me save money. And I handle it at the house in the shower. That's my barbershop, you feel me? I'm shaving and I hadn't been in the shop in 2 days. But, I fall through a barbershop here and there, just along the way, vicariously or whatever, hanging out with a friend or something. And just in general, when I meet new people, I always try to find something in common, and James?
Yes, sir.
I can tell James is into his fashion, you feel me? And then Carlos, like you said, you can go there and you be roaming up. I don't know. I feel like I might be able to smoke with Carlos. I don't know. I've checked out his fingertips. I don't know if my man, so, you find that common ground with somebody and, we can just am I wrong? You ain't got to tell them, but you feel me? So that's just, and once you find that common ground, you know what I'm saying, that you can just keep it real based around those things. But, we can discuss fashion. We can discuss extracurricular activities. We could, whatever. I'm here to talk about whatever might be on someone's mind or what your community makes.
Especially as it relates to marriage and love and men, the things that men are not saying or are hiding or choosing not to say because of the idea of I don't want to offend. Whether that means you don't want to offend your wife, you don't want to offend the women species, or you don't want to offend another man. That type of conversation. So for instance, a question that came in is, I'm trying to figure out what question to go when, but it says, how do I choose the right people to vent to?
Definitely important. And I think that's something also I was kind of on our last segment when Melissa and I were being interviewed, and that when I lost my train of thought, that is what one thing I was going to advise is find I guess a mentor would be a good word, but more importantly, someone to be accountable to. So someone that's walked that path that you have walked, and someone that you can go to and talk to in a judgment-free zone, but that will also put you in check, keep you, tell you that it's you. All men to me need that. Period. Without being in a relationship, but being in a relationship, definitely find someone to be accountable to.
Do you find that many men are open to that?
No.
Why not?
Most men don't want to be held accountable and don't want to be told anything that they don't want to be told. So that's a shrinking to yourself type of deal. And if whatever you have going on is important enough, then you should be able to take whatever it is that you need to take, whatever medicine you need to take to make this thing work. So if it's some hard conversations from you telling me I need to get myself together, then that's what it needs. But you need somebody to hold you accountable other than God. Somebody you can talk to and tell you, right now, you need to get it together.
That's solid. I would, to the question, I would tell a person, never vent or express your hurts or your concerns or your worries to anybody that don't have any fruit.
It doesn't have any
fruit.
So,
and when I start talking about fruit, I'm not talking about materialistic things. I know in today's society, that's the first thing somebody started thinking about, a car, a house, or this, that, because a person can have a huge house and it can be held in the house. But when you start talking about fruit, you gotta start talking about peace. You gotta start talking about mental stability, so to speak. Like you're not, just being swayed by any different situation or circumstance throws you left or right. You gotta have some emotional intelligence, emotional stability. And so most of the times, people vent to people just because a person is close, but they don't have the wisdom, the revelation, or the understanding to put you at a peaceful place or to give you not just good advice, but some godly advice. Because good advice, it may be some advice that's logical and normal to the mind, but it might not be the specific thing for you. So therefore, and then another thing, as you add on to that, is like, how do you know if a person got peace? Because if your life is chaotic and you unstable and you might not, if you haven't never received peace might go over your head. But at the same time, if you pay attention to a person long enough, you will be able to see, like, he got some peace, he got something I don't have, and I need to hurry up and see, what did you do to get to where you are? Mentally, not just materially, but mentally. And when you start talking about that, when you start talking about, you know, asking a person who to vent to, you gotta really, really know if you really got growth on your mind when you are asking that question. Because if you don't have growth on your mind, the accountability piece you're talking about, you're not gonna want to hear it.
That's lit. You know, not to take yourself too serious, if you will, but at the same time to kind of take yourself a little serious. I would suggest some counseling, dealing with people who are professionals in a certain space, because what counseling does, you like to say, guys, we run away from it, people run away from it, especially African descendants, you know what I'm saying, because of that crazy word, you know, that C word. But when you're dealing with a professional, a professional has a little bit of skin in the game, because we worry if somebody gonna take our business and spread it to everybody else. But if a professional does that, then they got some liability now. So that's one thing. You know, we don't even just give our trash to anybody. We give it to the trash man, because there's a professional approach that they have to take. You feel what I'm saying? To dealing with our mess. You feel me? So, you know, we already pay for it. We already pay. Most of us is in our, it's taken out of our check from my employer. You know what I'm saying? So why wouldn't you utilize that? But when you're dealing with a professional, then you get the stuff that we were talking about. The accountability is there, but also the how-tos. You know what I'm saying? The how-tos to get stronger in a certain area. You know, how to develop in a certain area. And it's somebody usually who ain't gonna be biased. Because, I mean, you know, when you're dealing with friends, family, your folk, your partners, you know, your co-workers or whatever, they know little things, and it's tough to vent like that, because people sometimes will take that as an opportunity. We all have done it, or it's happened to us, where they'll take that little bit you get and they're gonna throw it back at, well, because you be doing that anyway. And so then you clamming up again. Like, I can't even try, I ain't come for all of that. I just came to tell you what I got going on. A professional's probably not gonna do that. If they should, then you can take your business elsewhere, you know. So, you know, that's my spiel. Take advantage of some of the professional things, and you build that rapport with a person that you can vent to them, but not just to stay there. You can vent so that your ducts can get clean, and then you can continue to flow and flourish.
It's good, and this is good. We don't get to hear this from men, and I'm gonna keep going to this thing because women dominate the conversation a lot when it comes to love, marriage, dating, especially just being vocalized. And then even when men say it, they tend to be, you know, shunned or disregarded. And one of my questions that I want to ask is, and I'm going to ask this question because I know my husband and I have a lot of conversations, and you guys are already married. There are a lot of people that are considering marriage. When you think about what men want in a wife or in the woman that they want to marry, forget who they're dating, is there a formula? Is there a particular formula that men go by? We in the barbershop now. Y'all in the barbershop. Is there a formula that men are looking for that, man, at the end of the day, we just want this in whatever woman that we're going to settle with? Or is it something else? Is it preferential? Is there a formula?
I don't know if that's a catch-all answer, to be honest with you. I think, you know, a lot of guys, I got partners, man, it was like, man, I'd never get married, you know, and it was the circumstance that led them to get married. They may have 2 or 3 kids with a young lady, and it's just like, you know what, I want my kids to see somebody I didn't see. So it has nothing to do with the woman. Hear what I just said? I want my kids to see something. So the woman then becomes the vicarious benefactor of a greater vision.
I got you.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So that's one situation. Now she came up, her friends, oh girl, okay, but he wanted his kids to see something different. Then you got other situations where, you know, guys just get all that external pressure. Mama on their head, grandma on their head, when you gonna make that girl an honest woman? Y'all been together 50 years and all of that, you know what I'm saying? And then you have other situations where you may really like this young lady, you know, and there may be a checklist, if you will, You know, I don't know. I don't know if it's just a one set thing. If you asking a perfect world question, you know, of course, you want someone that look a certain way, you know, that don't get on your nerves, that can cook, that's, you know, sexually she's, you know, whatever. You feel me? And all of those things. But I don't know if we ever just, if many of us have the opportunity just to show up in these ideal situations, you know. Fellas, y'all tap in. Huh?
I think opportunity was the key word, and I agree with what you're saying. Like, there's never, if we could, there would be a list, but a lot of times life just doesn't work out that way. You know, I think we should. I think it should be more than this lady just makes me feel warm inside. You know, I think we should be looking at, is this lady going to be a good homemaker? Is she going to be a good mother to my children? And to me, a lot of times we never even get there. You know, that's something we find out down the road, because we're looking to please us. We're looking to please ourselves. So I want a woman that makes me feel a certain way. And she may do all that, but the rest of the boxes may be horrible. But I won't find that out until down the road, because I'm focused on me. So it's got to be a bigger picture. You know, it's got to be, what is going to be the complete picture of this, not just how she makes me feel right now. You know, how will we make it down the road? Will she be a good mother to my sons? Will she be a good mother to my daughter? You know, that's the list we should be making.
I think it depends upon the person and the season that they're in, the man, the season that he's in, and his values. Because like he was just saying, there's so many different type of men out here. And since there's so many different type of men, like 20 years ago, for me personally, it wouldn't have never crossed my mind to be married. I didn't come up in a household, I didn't see marriage inside or even the entire family. Yeah, absolutely. So my mom had 7 siblings. My dad had 8 siblings. And on my mom's side, it was only 1 marriage. On my dad's side, it was 2. So it was kind of like it wasn't a value, you know? But yeah, at that time in that season of my life. But then when life starts happening, you know, when you start changing, you start becoming, you start shifting, everything started moving. And so when I started growing, and then I started understanding the purpose of marriage, the purpose of relationship, the purpose of life, value shift. When value starts shifting, then you start, when you know who you are. Like, it's some men flat out, you don't respect me, you don't love me. Ain't nothing else to talk about, right? But then it's the preferences on the other side for who you are and where you're going. Like, if you value growth, you really can handle marrying a woman that can teach you something. Do I need to say it a little louder? like real talk, straight up. Like most of us men, we got so much pride in so many circumstances and situations. We don't want no woman teaching us anything. But we also know that, you know, she can teach us. And if we are really real with ourselves, we should know that God put her in our life so she could teach us, to help. You got me?
How that teaching happen?
Absolutely.
That's the key point.
Yeah.
The way that the male is delivered.
For sure. But at the same time, if you are not open to it, and you don't even know you're not open to it, and you are full of yourself, like you were just saying, that'll never get accomplished. And no, I don't care how much counseling you go to, I don't care how many conversations in the barbershop. If you're not open to your spouse, man or woman, becoming the student and they becoming the teacher, if you're not open to it, that's not gonna take place.
And that's a flip-flop. So
Absolutely.
one minute you may be teaching me as the husband teaching the wife, and then I'm teaching you
Absolutely.
as the wife teaching the husband. And that doesn't override or disregard, as a man, your leadership role and my
That
role.
actually strengthens the marriage.
It
Because if I always gotta be the teacher and I can't be the student, it's always withdrawals. I'm gonna be empty in a second. I ain't gonna have nothing. in a second.
And you can't learn knowing everything.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, but
Thinking you know everything, but you really don't know everything, right?
Nobody knows anything.
And it's only one thing with us, with men. Like, we feel like it's a weakness for most men. Well, however you grew up, however you was raised, whatever, unless you had a real strong dad that really put it in you, that really showed you that really showed you, watch how your mom teach me, so to speak. We think it's a weakness if we're in front of people and it's visible that our wives are teaching us.
I like how this guy Simon Sinek kicks it. You know, you may have heard of him. He's a speaker, leader, Caucasian guy. But he talked about how he won't mentor anybody if they don't mentor him. So it's a two-way street. Yeah, he may be from a hierarchy standpoint, you know, older or more accomplished or what have you. But it's like, you know, I remember like when I was working with Les Brown, or he was working with me rather. You know, he kind of had that same mindset because in order for me to stay relevant, you got to teach me. You know what I'm saying? So I can stay relevant. And in order for you to continue to mature, I got to pour. So it's virtually even exchange. And like I said, you know, I'm a music artist, rap artist, whatever. And I had a line on this one song: "If you treat a woman right, she'll love you for life. Once you do it wrong, she's gone." Boom. I said, but whatever you give a woman, she'll give you back better. Give her a little milk and she'll give you back cheddar. Give her a house, she'll give you back a home. You feel me? And so, you know, it's just anything you give a woman a seed, she's gonna throw it back to you better. And so you can inquire, how did you do that? How did you, you know, I gave you this, GC, general contractor, you know, but you brought the furnishings in and the wood and all these other elements that, hey, show me how you did that. You know what I'm saying?
Now, I want to flip that because a lot of people say that. 1 second, Carlos. A lot, you know, they talk about what they give woman, she gives you back better. But then no one else talks about everything. So you talked about you give her milk, she get cheddar, you give her a home, she give you a house, she get a home, you give her food, she give you a meal. What happens when you guys are dishing out crap?
You get that better. I mean, you get that back amplified as well. It's not.
How's that received? Because then that also leaves on, you mentioned the words respect earlier, and I mentioned submission.
Yeah.
And those are two words that I think are misunderstood
Absolutely.
by both species, male and female. Understood due to either lack of knowledge or intentional. I don't want to understand it because if I understand it, that means I have to do different.
Accountable to it, yeah.
So, and I asked two questions, but I really want to focus on the respect and this is going to go after you make your comment, Carlos. And then let's talk about that respect and submission and what that means for you as men. Both of those two things. And why is it important for respect and submission shown to you from your spouses? But Carlos had a comment.
The question's so weighty, he like.
Right. Just allow your woman to feel your cup. And that is what goes back to what he said. Whatever you give back, whatever you give, you can get back. Allow her to fill your cup. Once your cup is full, you know, and this is kind of advice to you, fill your man's cup and you won't want for anything.
He said, let that marinate. You got real quiet on you.
I'm like, why Ed look at me like that?
And I want it.
Yes, honey, I got the word. Word is caught. Word
Fill
is
his
caught.
cup and you
I'll fill your
won't
cup,
want
boo.
for anything.
That overflow. Yeah, because once he's full, it's spilling over. But, you know, I think all the stuff that we're discussing right now, I know we're focusing on men and women and, you know, battle of the sexes or whatever you want to say, but it still boils down to people, you know, and those deposits. And so, you know, words themselves are, the term is amoral, meaning words themselves, they hold a power that is not, it goes both ways. You follow me? It's not just unidirectional. And so when we say whatever we give, that's what we're giving back. So if you give those great things, you're going to get great things in return. But if you're giving that negativity, then that's still being ingested, harbored, magnified, and then projected out again. You know, a lot of times, and I hope, you know, my sisters are hearing me right now, women take in so much. And if you've been in a bad relationship or this or that and the third, be careful not to get with the next guy and all that was harboring, it's now been magnified and it's dumping on this guy, and he out and it's like, well, ain't no good man, ain't no, you giving him something. And so now for guys, you go back to that fight or flight concept. Some guys may flight, other guys may start turning up, and it's like, this wasn't even how I was. So, these are some universal things that, again, it goes back to self. Being, even before we started this segment's taping, we were talking about, being whole within yourself, being complete within yourself. So when we come into, they say, when it's time to be ready, that's not the time to prepare to be ready. When it's time to be ready, you should have already prepared. And so whoever is watching this right now, use this time if you're looking for that guy. You know what I'm saying? Look for yourself. Get self together so that when that guy comes along or you're found or whatever, you can really walk it out and not be making negative deposits. Because respect is huge for pretty much any guy. If we was out here playing ball or something, we gonna be arguing over respect. You know what I'm saying? Bro, you fouled me. No, I didn't, man. Respect my call, man. That's a universal term. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no women around nowhere. Dudes just want to be respected. You know what I'm saying? You all in my personal space. What's up, man? Back up. This is pre-pandemic. I need my feet. You know what I'm saying?
All 6 of them.
Like Ova said earlier, though, at the end of the day, a man wants peace. And if he doesn't get that, he will go to where he can find it.
But peace is the offspring of respect.
I was going to say.
Yeah, absolutely.
All those things.
Without a shadow of a doubt.
Go to that.
So that opens up to another question. It says, what are some of the ways to help safeguard against infidelity? And I thought it was perfect to segue there because of what you just said. When a man can't find peace, he's going to go where he can find it.
Can I say this real quick?
Sure.
I know y'all gonna have it. Y'all got it. If somebody gon' cheat, ain't no safeguard. Now y'all can answer the question. I just want to say that little piece right there.
Yeah, that thing personal. It's personal. It's definitely personal within a person, because, man, your covenant with your wife and your covenant with God, it first starts off with you. Your covenant with yourself. So, just because a person may do something that may be looked at as disrespectful or dishonoring, that doesn't necessarily give me the right to go out and commit adultery or infidelity. You got me? So I'm saying that I personally my personal convictions within myself, man, this is me. This is certain things I'm just not gonna do. You got me? If you disrespect me now, I do got an option to handle it however I want to handle it. But that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm about to go out and do what you did just to make you feel bad or just to make the situation worse. I just totally believe that, man, you gotta have some stuff within yourself. You gotta be grounded and rooted within yourself. And, everybody got, like you said, we all come from 3 different areas of life, 3 different, man, I came from all this.
I like that I call it the umbrella effect. You talk about that honor. Yeah. First honoring God, so you covered, and then what's underneath you is covered. So, and so when we talk about honoring, what are those honorable things? It's just doing what you would want. You know what I'm saying? Doing what was done during the dating period to go along with the marriage period. Is it 100% going? No, not at all. But just being conscious of those things. You know what a man is? Man, we led by what we see, the visuals, all that kind of stuff, the spice. I get the question. But it ain't rocket science. You know what I'm saying? Be creative, not corny. There's a difference between that. You know what I'm saying?
Be creative,
not corny. I mean, you watch when folks try some. It's like, okay, that's way over the top, bro. That's not. You lost me there. I'm not even in the mood no more. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely do the things to try to keep the spice, but just like before mentioned, it has to be a personal choice based on your values, and if somebody's gonna do it, they're gonna do it. There's no safeguards to get it.
And those things are just, like you said, if something was not to work out, you just, you enjoyed yourself, you did what you could for the sanctity of the marriage. And you walk away, clear conscious of going to whatever God got for you.
And I think I like the fact that you started out with that, because everyone, I myself included, go into marriage with these expectations. Mind you, they told me, don't have any expectations. And I tried not to have any, I promise you.
It's natural.
But I walked into it with 100 and plus of them.
What are some of yours?
And a lot of that was
Really?
some of that pre-marriage.
I asked any questions, man.
a lot of your expectations, I bet, came from a lot of that pre-marriage counseling and preparations and all that you got.
Actually,
It's
a lot
from
of
childhood too.
exactly.
Yeah,
A lot of my expectations came from watching the beautiful marriage that I saw of my parents and my uncle and aunt who had marriages for 30 plus years. And so I'm thinking, and then my dad. I had an amazing relationship with my dad. I had an amazing example as a man and as a leader. So in my mind, my husband needs to be, if he isn't gonna be my dad, he needs to be close to. Which is part of the reason why it took me a long time to get married, because I was looking for my dad. And I was doing an injustice to myself for years. And then, so I walked in thinking that my husband is supposed to, not is going to, is supposed to do things the way I saw my dad did to my mom and to me. And then I watched them together. And then I get married and you realize that's not the case. That was their marriage.
But if men, there's a video that your dad made. I can't remember the title of it.
Let's change the whole conversation.
It basically just gives you the blueprint.
Yeah,
like
buddy.
if it's something that I could have saw, and I sent it to my kids, my sons.
Yeah, buddy.
If it's something that I could have saw at 15, 16, 13, my life would have been totally different. I can't remember the name of the
I know what you're talking about.
Well, he lays it out.
Yeah.
He lays it all out. Talks about what a man should be, what a woman should be.
Roles.
Roles, everything, like the total blueprint for it. And so I can't blame you for having those expectations. But most of us can't live up to that.
But they're not there. Those expectations are killing me.
Exactly. But most of us have, if that was part of school curriculum, like
It would be, we could be different.
the world might be
Seriously.
different.
That's real.
Literally,
That might just be a class in school.
Because it definitely changed the way I looked at everything. Like I wish I would have saw it 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Your dad was in that Kevin Samuels 1%. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
Okay, you can take your phone over there and just walk
Listen,
over
he was an anomaly.
So-
He's not really.
He's talking about
He's talking about women. Women have a 1%. You didn't watch Kevin? Watch what he's saying.
Hold on.
He said
Hold on.
there's
Wait a minute. I need a
1%.
moment. Because I was my entire set, we was never gonna ever mention Kevin Samuels.
Really?
But anyway, since you did.
We can learn from this
Since you
gentleman.
did.
You want barbershop.
I do want barbershop, okay? I have a husband that's in that barbershop, let me tell you. So, and I'm perfectly fine with having a conversation. Do you all know him? You listen to him? Heard him?
I don't agree with 90% of the stuff he says.
You don't agree with 90%?
Nah,
Do you?
straight up. Like I don't, but
And
I
you?
see what
Hold
he's
on.
saying as far as.
So you don't agree with 90?
Yeah.
You agree with 100?
No, I don't agree with 100% of anybody.
Okay.
What I agree with is the challenge that's extended to grow, and the challenge to be realistic about what one is. So when he's talking about that 1%, and it could be 5%, it could be that's semantics. But there's an ideal person that many women may have conceived in their mind. And so I said respectfully, your father from the outside looking in was a gentleman that had a check, that had global respect, that was integral, that was all of these different type of things, regardless of whatever his background, whether it was presented to him or not, if he had to do the hard work to learn it. But for many, yourself included, hellacious to try to find your dad again.
It is. And I was doing my, now mind you, there's something you did to that just now that made it sit a little different with me.
Yeah.
You disarmed me for a second. Because I was, whew. But when I think about now, when I look at it now as my dad, and you say that he was in that 1%, and me now trying to find him.
Yeah.
Because as far as I'm concerned, he's my father. I saw what he did to me. I saw what he did to my mom. So in my mind, I'm thinking, man, this should be with every man.
You're normal.
This should be, exactly. And if anybody else, they are in an abnormal situation. And me, I'm good. When I'm realizing that that's not the case, you are special. Like, I'm special. I'm the one that's in a very small percentile of women and people that have that experience and that example. So even when I deal with my husband, I have to be intentionally careful that I don't portray and project my desire or my relationship with my dad on him and our marriage, because I'll kill it. And as challenging as that is, it's so true. And there are so many women that are walking around, like you say, wanting this fantasy of either what they had in a father, or what they've seen in other fathers and never had, or what they see on TV. Okay? They want this fantasy and they'll never get it, but they're running after it. They are running after it. And one of the things that, since we're talking about KS, I'm not going to give him the value of calling his full name on my show, but we're going to talk about KS. You know, he talks about, so the question I was asking was a spin-off of him indirectly, and the things that men are looking for in women. And according to KS, there's this list. And however, women are not focused on preparing themselves in the way that men are wanting them, if you know what I mean. Like, he is saying men want this, this, and this, but the things that women are preparing themselves for are not a part of that list. So are we mispreparing ourselves? Or is this list accurate, if I can use that word? Or is there no list at all, and it's just KS religion?
I would suggest to some ladies, not all, because I mean nothing is holistic, but suggest to some women to get out the beauty salon and have the courage to go into the barbershop and not be combative in the barbershop, but just absorb. You know, before we came on set, we were talking about that, about how a lot of women may talk with other women about what men want and then agree with themselves on what men want and then make those adjustments, but the buyer has never been considered. You went, you feel me? You went and spoke to all your competitors, but you never spoke to the buyer.
Exactly what you want.
And
that's what I mean. So that list that they spoke amongst themselves does not coincide with the list of, like you say, the buyer, like what y'all really want.
It's
Damn.
so many different worlds out here. And the problem is this: a person is in that world trying to get the right results, but they're getting the wrong information in the world that they're in. But the other people what they wanted in, the results they wanted in, they got to change the world to go get it. Am I making any sense? Yeah. If you are in this world and you listening to this type of teaching, this type of thinking, this type of believing, this type of feeling, watch this. It's really over there what you really, really want. But you stuck right here. And since you're stuck right here, you got to go by the language, the reasoning, the thinking, and everything else over here. But if you just decided to just change the world. I used to do it the same way, same old crazy stuff until I changed worlds. It ain't no good women, it ain't no this, it ain't no that, and I guess you gotta do it like this. But then once you change the world, then you start seeing the perspective is different over here. The language is a little bit different over here. The respect is a little bit different. It is some people over here that's looking in the world that you're in, and they're saying, man, something wrong with you. Like, and sometimes, I believe this, and I'm gonna pass it. I believe it's a difference between what we want and what we value. You can want something, and you might start going at it to such of a profound degree But when the sacrifice gets deeper for you to get it, the only way that you can get it is you got to value. Perfect example. It's a difference between a Coach bag and a Chanel bag. The Coach bag, $275. You got that. But you say you want this Chanel bag. So it's gonna be $5,000. You gotta say that $275 another 20 times in order to get your hands on that Chanel bag. We gonna see just how much you value this Chanel bag when we send you through this process.
No, I love it because you can hit a lick and get $275. You can call your grandma, but to do that 20 times again,
Come on, man.
first of all, watch this. It's a character that develops.
Yes, sir.
And you become a different person. If I say, sis, can I borrow $275? You don't, cool, you never asked me to hold no money, cool, great, I pay you back, whatever. But if I gotta go hit 20 other people up, I gotta lay a list out, I gotta now start doing cold calls, I gotta become a salesman or a saleswoman that by the time I develop into this new person to afford the Chanel, my character, my personal being has developed into something else. I'm a business person now, forget the bag. I keep doing this, I can start staffing. You start thinking there. So in order to, Darren Hardy talks about this. He said when he wrote down the type of woman that he wanted, he didn't sit back and now go and try to pursue that woman. He looked and he said, that type of woman, what kind of person would she want? And he had to develop, and it took him time to develop into the type of man that type of woman would want. Because before he was getting coach chicks. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah. And not to cut you off, but that KS conversation, that's Coach conversations. But you want the Chanel bag. Let me calm down. I'm starting to get excited. Starting to get very excited. Seriously, it's amazing that you want Chanel, but you continue to intermeddle in Coach conversations. And you take Coach suggestions, and you live life according to the mentors that mentoring you about Coach.
Right. You want to be a butterfly, but you're taking advice from caterpillars.
You haven't even asked what Chanel got, the people that's over here, what they got to say.
I think what I appreciate about the Chanel and Coach analogy is by the time you get from Coach to Chanel and that character you mentioned, you would have built and prepared yourself. You are now fit for a Chanel. If I give you a Chanel while you in a Coach world, you're gonna waste, you're gonna abuse, you're gonna disrespect, you ain't ready for it. You ain't ready for it, and the world knows it. So we're not, and so I guess what I would appreciate is if someone would say, it's not impossible to have what you want. Is it impossible for a Coach to reach a Chanel?
Not at all. It's not impossible.
Is it okay that I want it? Yes. Can I reach it? Yes. Do I have to put in some work? Yes. But is it okay that I can get it? And is it okay for someone to tell me you can have it? You just need to do A, B, and C. Versus, no, you can't have it. Just settle with your Coach.
That's the problem with that conversation, right? Because all our lives, a few of us have been told, you better be lucky you can get a Coach, right? But then we heard your dad, and a few of us said, oh, my values changed. Man, listen here, I'm coming to get it. Not just one.
And what I appreciate about you, James, a lot of people don't know, is like when I look at where you came from, and I look at the person that you've married, like you were Coach, and she was a Chanel. Literally, Coach is even expensive. He came from Walmart and wanted a Chanel, but he was not ready for that. And I can talk to this because I know James and I know his background, but he had to work through that. He had to work and put in some work and build that character that you talked about. And then when he built that character, then he was fit to even be seen, to be heard, and he's a man, mind you, but wanting that Chanel, like he was ready for that. And she for him. And I think your story is so important, James, because there's so many men out there who have your backstory. Of, I don't want to share without you sharing, who have your backstory of going through the prison system and going through I'm in the streets and multiple women, they have that story. and you're able to get to put that all behind you and still have your Chanel bag. Like,
It costs you something, though.
it does. But I want the men, there are some boys, there are some young men out there who I want to hear that, because I want them to even understand that these men sitting up here, they did what you see is not what was. This is the product of time and sacrifice and costing and expense and having to go through some stuff. And there are a lot of them that are thinking they're stuck. Like, I'm stuck in this world of coach because can I get there? No one's gonna give me the opportunity.
And I want, because none of the three of us have arrived. You know, so I know you were saying that Chanel level. I don't want it to be. This is an ongoing thing. You feel me? He's coming from where he's come from. I've come from where I come from, etc. And we could all crap it up right now. You feel me? And so, you know, it's another thing to understand. It can be two people in the Coach store, since we rolling with that, and y'all could be like, you know what? We're gonna go ahead and get this Coach bag together. But we also gonna go get that Chanel together one day.
We don't
Meaning,
stop here.
there's also a thing of people growing together. Yeah. And I think you could probably speak on that a little more. But, you know, my dad would tell me often, he would say, you know, son, the problem with your generation is y'all don't know how to get with someone and see what's in them and grow together. Y'all are so looking at the end goal and arriving at something and then ascertaining it, which is why we 30s, 40s, 50s before we get married and trying to start a family. That's everybody ain't Abraham and Sarah. You know, that's an anomaly. You know what I'm saying? Being that, you know, that's not normal. You can identify and develop these core values. You know, in the Hebrew culture, at 12 you a man.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Young ladies, you know, menstrual cycle starting mid-teens, early teens, meaning that's God's signs that if you get this together, you prepared to launch now. This ain't early, this is my design. But we are in such delay because of so much confusion. So, you know, I don't know if it was Plies or Lil Duval who was saying, a lot of women miss out on Russell Wilson. Just because he's not in the league. You looking at a certain type, but you got Russell Wilsons all around you, but just not seeing that, bro, we forget Coach, we in Walmart together.
Exactly, and they're wanting Chanel, and they want Chanel right away.
Yeah, for sure.
They don't want to have to start at Walmart and then work and grow with that somebody and realize that, man, I can surpass Chanel if I grow, because this person realizes that I'm committed to them no matter what, like he said. This is so good. Because I like the fact that he said, like, you guys haven't arrived.
Yeah, for sure.
And there is always going to be a matter of arriving. And you would have arrived at the Coach store, and then you would have gone from Coach to Gucci, and then you were able to go from Gucci to Chanel, and then from Chanel to who else there?
And they gotta pay you for all this. I don't know if y'all running ads or crap, but listen.
The value, no one pays for the value.
But the whole, I think the principle of the matter is, right, the becoming, right? Me and my wife, we say this, that marriages are, it's a threefold thing in marriage. You become, you build, so you can bless. You got me? And so therefore, the becoming, from the Coach to the Chanel, it's like from identity to identity, from vision to vision, from confidence to confidence, from faith to faith. It's the continual becoming and having your heart convicted on, I'm gonna get there. We gonna get there together.
But value that moment. Value the moment and value the journey. You know, you might not have had the ideal journey, but it made you the man you are sitting here today. So everybody has that course that they have to go on. You know, so don't begrudge it. Don't value it. Value the lessons that you're getting from it. You know, don't ever take an L. If you take an L, make it be a lesson, never a loss.
Like that. Oh, I've learned so much. I know there are many women, many men who have walked away from this with a changed perspective, because I know I have. And I want to thank you all for for being here and just being open and candid, and even spend the time with your wives over the last couple of weeks and just watching how you guys are with them. Like right here, there's this certain way you are, and then when they're on the side of you, there's this nice just softness, and like I appreciate that, because a lot of men don't express themselves emotionally. And I want to end on this conversation. What is it? Well, first of all, so there's this new word that's going around now. It's called, simping. Simp, S-I-M-P. So apparently,
hold on.
it's called.
You know what a simp is. Come on, man.
No, I was just trying to. I didn't understand. I was trying to get it. I was trying to get the word. I was like, what the, oh yeah, we've been saying that.
We've been saying simp. That ain't new.
Years, yeah, that ain't new.
Since you clearly know what it is.
Maybe not on the island, but simp been big.
Well, I'm just learning it for the first time in the last couple of
I was
months.
like, what? Yeah, go ahead.
So for those that may not know, what is simp? Or what is simping?
So I mean, simp is all right. It's like a spinoff of. It's being a chump, being just not in tune, pushover, all that. Yeah. And contextual clues will tell you what it is as well. You know what I'm saying?
So being a simp is not a good thing?
No.
In the culture, but just being honest, I wish I would have had a couple simple days 30 years
Back in the day?
Yeah, straight up. Like, yeah, we laugh at stuff and we marginalize things as actually power tools for greatness. Meaning, like a nerd, like, you tell, man, he's a square, he's a simp, he's that, right? And so when you start calling somebody that, they don't want to continue being who they are because they gotta change and be not the simp.
Especially the nerd.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that was kind of like me.
Yeah.
I was a smart kid in the advanced classes, college preparatory classes, and I didn't really have none of my friends in those classes.
Yeah.
So I was always the nerd, the smart kid. So I would actually dumb myself down.
Yeah, absolutely.
To be accepted.
Yeah.
We all went through that.
Just like you said.
Yeah.
Something setting me up for greatness.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I want to dumb myself down to be accepted.
And then you got this whole world that he feels like in order for, at this place, he feels like in order for him to get a girl or to get a wife, he got to start acting tough. He got to start being something that he's not. You didn't come out the ghetto. Like you ain't have to fight every street over you walk down the street. And if that wasn't your story, that don't mean you gotta come over here, because once again, it's another world over here that is conducive for who you are. But when you start saying the whole culture is talking about simps.
So simp,
it makes me mad.
So I don't want to sit on the Pimp C thing, but Pimp C has a line. He says, "I'm a pimp, not a simp." That's it. That's how he punched in.
Okay.
So he lets you know what it is.
So simping is not a good thing. Okay, good.
But it's,
check.
So when I go ahead.
To provide another alternative to that, I think that word is sometimes misused. And I think that's maybe where you're kind of going with it. So if I'm bring flowers home to my wife,
That's considered a simp, apparently.
Somebody might call me a simp.
Simp.
So it's perspective. It's
But if you're someone who brings home flowers and brings home gifts, and you're very PDA with your wife, and you're very, honey, I'm sorry, with your wife, that's simping in a condescending way, not so much in a good way. It's
Perceived.
it's perceived, exactly. So I just wanted to make sure that let's not use that.
But I'm glad he brought this up, because it's also a thing of understanding generations. So what I was going to share, and I like what you said about you wish you would have been a simp, if you will.
A couple of,
You know what I'm saying? And
qualities.
so anytime I'm working with young ladies, or we're doing a little panel discussions, it's teenagers, young adults, whatever, I'll say, young ladies, the person you want to maybe connect with and grow with is, and I must hit it to them like this, is the simp.
Yeah.
The guy that's making the straight A's, the guy that's whatever the case may be, encourage that guy. I said, because I'm gonna tell you something. Y'all are focused on who's getting most popular right now. All of those accolades in high school, and all these low. I said, but at 18, 19, 21, who was the cutest? All that's important now. But when you 30, 35, you're gonna be saying, who got a mortgage versus paying rent? who is, got that job, or who's got all of those things. And it's probably the simp that's going to be doing those things then. And understands that. You follow? And so when you talk about bringing the roses now, from a Generation Z standpoint, or a low generation, millennial generation standpoint, oh man, you simping, you bringing that girl flowers. But the context, a lot of times, the conversation around that may be, she a freak. Yeah. So now it's like you simping because you're trying to save her. You follow me? Because she loose with it. So that word's got it's a lot of brevity to that term. It ain't just one thing, if you will. It could be calling him out to be like, bro, you getting played also. You out here simping. You know what I'm saying?
And it's just like you said, the simp and the nerd have the qualities that you're going to want in a husband. Now at 18, he's somebody to laugh at, but at 30, you're going to wish you had him. And that my hometown, I swear that was the story of it. They always wanted the guys that was doing the most. Selling dope, had the cars, had the money. And now, half those guys, they're calling me for jobs. They 50 years old and still trying to get cash under the table.
Absolutely. It's certain words that's being dropped into society, man, that is destroying self-esteem, self-value, self-belief, self-worth. And so and then this is what it all comes down to when you're in marriage, in relationships, and everything. If a person's self-esteem, self-confidence, self-belief, self-acceptance is high, you will be comfortable letting your wife or your husband be who they are. Mm-hmm. But if it's low, here comes the friction. Here comes the fights. Here comes the severing of what God is trying to put together. It's all this interpersonal confidence within yourself. Mm-hmm. It's huge. And what I love about that is it's only one person that can give you that. Mm-hmm. I don't care how many degrees anybody got. I don't care how many followers they got. It's only one person that can give you that. For you to be confident with who you are. Because when people, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable of those words. I'm just saying, it's just blowing me away. Like, we drop that into society and everybody run behind it. And then everybody end up losing in life just because they're trying not to be this word. And it's nothing but a lie. That's all it is. It's just a lie.
And you always need to be, it's something I say all the time, you always need to be your authentic self. Or else, how else will your tribe find you?
Absolutely.
If I'm trying to be something that you want me to be, eventually my true self is going to show. Your true self is going to show. Now it could be 3 years into the marriage, it could be 30. And now what? Now you have a whole nother person to deal with because you've not been yourself. That is, and I think that's a big reason why a lot of marriages fail, because that person, you want to be married, so you might be who you want him to, who you think that he wants, instead of being who you are. So you're portraying that role. He doesn't really know you. Now you're everything that he wants. He marries you, and now eventually you got to drop the facade. You got to be who you are. Now you have a problem. Now he's with somebody he don't know or like. You got to always be your true self.
And that's a trap a lot of people fall.
A lot of
people fall into.
A lot of people.
Gentlemen, we have only started the conversation.
That's a fact.
We have only started the conversation. So thank you for part one. Part two will be coming. Put it out there for everybody to hear. But I appreciate. And James said something. They're just dropping stuff. They're dropping these words into society now. And I think starting the conversation to just even talk about it, talk about perspectives, get a better understanding. Now that I hear you, now I have a different meaning of a different perspective and idea on simping, but of course I heard it because of your BFF.
Name we won't mention on this show.
So, thank you again for joining Candid Conversations with Charisa, and we will continue the conversation. We have only just beginning. You guys are amazing.